All right, guys, here we are once again. I took a 3 week holiday break from therapy, and my first session is today. Don't know how I'm feeling about it. I took a 3 week holiday break from therapy, and my first session. So we're just chit chatting today. If you guys have any questions, comments, criticisms, I will answer all of it. But in the meantime, I'll pontificate and philosophize on a topic. I come from a long line of like philosophers, authors, scientists, like people that have had rock'em sock'em careers with 6 to 10 years of college, the whole 9 yards. And I haven't quite achieved that status in my life, to say the least. That makes some gatherings kind of awkward and strange. You don't know how to make conversation, but I'm happy to be alive. I'm happy that the Lord procured good things in my heart, and He will fight to fulfill what He started to accomplish in our lives, ultimately, I think. But I've had my ADHD. I didn't get diagnosed till I was 28. And when I did, I was on Adderall for the first time, and everything fell into place, at least for that 6 months that it worked for me. I was burning the midnight oil with all my job applications. I was flying through interviews. I was saying the most pitch perfect things. My sentence structure was perfect, everything else. But then I'm like, now I realize why I didn't quite finish junior college. I was an English major, music minor, and I kept switching my major all the time. I thought that was normal. But everybody I carpooled with, they all got amazing grades. I did okay, but the bottom started to fall out in my third semester. I had saved all my super hard science and math classes for the AA till the very last semesters, thinking, that was the way to do it. And then it all stacked up on me, and I had trouble taking notes. The history teacher's like, let me see your notes. This is crazy. Your grades don't reflect that you're actually paying attention. And he saw that I was just writing down little jokes or non sequiturs or things that weren't important. He's like, where's the battle of something, something? Where's this? Where's that? I'm like, I don't know. But in high school, I was homeschooled for most of it, and I thought you were supposed to hate school. I thought that's what all the cool kids do. And I was very creative in my free time, but my on the clock time, I just couldn't compete. I couldn't focus. Um, but when it was on my own terms, I did great. But I just counted down the seconds and the minutes till I was out of class and the school bell rung, or whatever. So, but I was in homeschool. Um, some of the curriculum we shared. Um, my mom like invented this charter school system thing and all this other stuff, but like it was um they I'd be like in 6th grade, and they'd teach like the 8th grade level math and vocabulary, and they just teach it to all of us. And my sisters, who were a couple grades behind me, they would fly through the material that was several grades ahead of them, and me, I would just be like, and then I would jack the teacher's guide later. But during my high school years, I discovered San Francisco radio station, and I knew music was my ticket. But I was not encouraged because it always seemed like I was off in a corner, just listening to my music, trying to push people out of my life. And I wasn't. I was just trying to gain some clarity and recuperate to get back in the game, start swinging, duking it out again. But what was I? Booey. But yeah, it was really weird, but I didn't understand. I'm like, well, I guess they kiss ass and they're goody goodies and stuff like that. I knew from a raw, visceral, basic point of view, they weren't more intelligent than me, but I didn't think I had a problem paying attention. I thought everything was genetic and nobody else showed signs of that impairment. So I went on, and then about 7 firings later and quitting without having another job in place, I finally reached my breaking point. I said, something's wrong. Uh, None of my peers can figure it out. I seem normal in dozens of other ways. I go to the parties and I'm cool and whatever, but like something's just wrong, you know. And as a kid, everyone calls you a weirdo and a nerd, and you just go, well, I don't know where to put that in my head, but I don't know, you know. I but um then I had trouble with different dosages, different meds. It would wear off at a certain point and have to start from scratch on a different thing. So I had to relearn everything in life, what little I knew, over a half dozen times, um, just to not get that much benefit out of it. And I'm still kind of going through that cycle. Now I'm a little bit on the mend. Some things are easier to learn. AI, Chat GPT makes the impossible possible in some categories for me. But I'm just now starting to get it back. I could lose it all over again. Just be like a cartoon character. But that's why when you see me on certain streams and I seem really immature or out of it or I'm just bopping around, it's because, I've had 10 different failed projects and I'm just trying to unwind and think of the next thing I want to do. But I can't be so project driven that I put it on a pedestal and worship it in case God says no. But I also can't be complacent so that my mind wanders to inappropriate things or I just waste a bunch of time or what have you. So it's always hard walking that tightrope with ADHD. You never quite know how things are coming across. And that's what I struggle with each and every day. If I could shed a little sunshine to you guys and illuminate some truth to you, then my life's worthwhile. I have some happiness in my life, but now I'm starting to hit a wall where I'm like, well, what should I learn first? It's always hard to know what to do first. And so I'm trying to disseminate everything, but then I get overwhelmed and I just want to smoke and forget everything. So it's a vicious cycle. But yeah, I continued to get fired from dozens and dozens of jobs after that. Then Vyvanse came out. I saw a little advertisement online. I told my girlfriend I was living with the Chinese girl, cerebral palsy in one hand. She's like, yeah, that could be the ticket for you. It could be a sign that you just randomly came across that ad. And there's so many scams, especially now, 10 years later. But so I tried it. My insurance didn't cover it, but I applied through the company for this voucher program, and it saved me $600 a month because that's what it was when it first came out. And then it said the patent will expire after 2 years, and then companies can make generic versions of their own to sell for much cheaper. So I was waiting for that day, and when it finally came, it sucked because everyone was reporting different side effects on the offshoots, and they were only $10 cheaper. So then my insurance stopped covering it. I had to scrape up $200 to $400 a month, which was all the money I was making just to pay for my meds. Now, thank God, I'm on a new Medicare insurance and it pays for it and it's great, but I was really struggling for a while. And then I'm like, wow, I'm paying all this money for something that's not even guaranteed to work, and my life is falling apart in the interim, and I'm just trying to pray that God will hold me together in some capacity. So now I moved to a new place and I'm starting to rebuild a couple of things, and it's going okay. But I am worse for the wear, especially last year was the worst year of my life. A lot of you guys saw me with a smile on my face, but that was all projection. I was just looking for any outlet I could to drum up some endorphins and some adrenaline. Um, but yeah, learning should not be an enemy of mine. But because of last year, I was just on a bad dosage of the Adderall. I adapted to it, and it made me feel like not myself at all. I wasn't completing sentences. I wasn't finishing any projects, no matter how small and subtle. So I just want to say, if you guys don't have ADHD, thank your lucky stars. It makes you second guess everything. Even when you think you're going to succeed, you can fail in a very weird way that you never see coming. It goes on and on and on. It's a very illogical disorder, and it shoots holes in so many projects and attempts of things. So if I'm like, God, okay, if you just want me to be an absolute blob, I will. But I think like everybody wants to do better. How do I improve in a genuine capacity, while not judging myself so harshly that it's just absolutely nuts? But yeah, so the main thing is accomplishments. So I couldn't be jealous even if I wanted to. I've had to have like a mantra I repeat to myself during those times. Um, Very tough. As a male, like my peers have all moved on. They've gotten like big mansions and gotten married with the white picket fence. My buddy's got a huge cooking business. He just bought his own restaurant and he hired 1 million employees and he's still expanding. Everything, everywhere I look around me is just growth, 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 right? It just makes me exhausted. Like, why wasn't my brain equipped to handle all that stuff? Because internally, I can internalize it and be like, okay, because I have worked hard 80% of my life, even though none of the jobs I kept more than 3 years. Um, but yeah, but before I was on meds, I was like, okay, I'll just get this ball rolling and then I'll start my advanced training. So that's what I did. But my base level job kept changing. I kept quitting and getting fired. So it created more than a little distraction. But also the stuff I looked for into, I had to find an apprenticeship program because I have to actually watch it. I can't just listen to the way it's described. I started to go to massage therapy school. There was some. I had a good warehouse job for a while. I was going to get in more into construction. I was learning to drive a tractor. I was learning all these different little sub skills and backup plans, and it all fell through in the most chaotic way possible. um, but it's strange. It's strange. I mean, imagine taking a medication that is supposed to help you, and the poison's worse than the cure, or whatever the expression is, and there's so many side effects, and it even slows your brain down at a certain point. So, but with the Adderall, one day I woke up, my head was just on fire. So I started the 8-month defrost slow scale back process, and that was horrible because I convinced myself I was feeling normal. And then I was applying for Goodwill, and they have a series of 5 interviews that they put you through, and you have to wait like 3 weeks between each one. It's a long process. I'm like, Lord, please just get me through this process, because I could picture myself on the job, on the clock, doing really well, being an integral part of the team. A lot of great fun personalities there. Thrift stores are great. One man's junk is another man's treasure. You never know what you're going to find. Some people don't know if they have a great brand, and you could buy it and sell it for more or whatever. So I thought, wow, this is pretty cool. But I saw my vocabulary and my speech just leave the tip of my tongue every day. It just got rolled back. I'm like, oh no. So when it came to the group interview, I sucked because they had this whole panel of like the what are called, the regional managers and the big mucky mucks in the business. And I was just like, because I was trying to listen and internalize and think about the next words that were going to come out of my mouth, and I couldn't do both. So God kind of blocked the flow. But then I broke up with my girlfriend. So I was able to buy a small trailer and move in there. But I was way far away from the city life. I was tucked away on top of a huge mountaintop. And just to get out into civilization took like 20 minutes in the car. But I needed that time to pray and meditate about my life and what direction God wanted me to go. But yeah, it's very hard as a man with male pride to not be like, let me fix this, let me do that, You just have to pray that God will lead you. That's it. You have to be humble. You just do. The only certainty is death. And we're also stupid. We bury ourselves in projects to take our mind away from some other trouble. That's dumb, but we all do it. And everything in life could be demystified. Nothing has to be held on to that we don't need. That's holding us back. So don't let some emotionally resonant situation between you and someone you're fighting with drag you down, because it absolutely will. When it gets its claws on your back, it can drag you to hell and back and infinity and beyond. What else? So hopefully in 10 days, I'll be able to start the BioLife process again. I donated plasma. I got some groceries, getting some stuff on Amazon Prime. Some of the snacks are good. Grocery Outlet has 50 to 70% off. Like keto granola bars, healthy protein snacks, and all sorts of good fiber snacks I recommend. but sometimes the produce isn't very good. If you find something you like, it might not be there next time. It's kind of like Costco in that regard, but you don't have to have a membership or pay a monthly fee for it. So if there's one in your area, check it out. It could change your life. If you're on food stamps like me, there's no shame in it, but you can make them stretch a lot farther. But yeah, I'm happy in my own way. Live kind of a simple life most of the time, but I'm going to try to learn new things. Anything I learn, it has to be put in motion right away for it to like stick, right? So I'm a very physical person, and the physical ties in with the mental. I have to have both those things functioning at once. So yeah, a lot of times I'm weird. Like, why did you make me wait till I was 28 to get diagnosed and all this other stuff? But my parents were weird growing up. I didn't get the attention I needed or the direction. Everyone else was encouraged, but not me. They didn't push me towards any one thing. Granted, I might have seemed a little scattered, but I didn't get the nurturing I needed to move forward, and I'm still struggling with that through therapy. It's really tough, which is really a crazy admission. Most men would never say what I said, but I guarantee I'm not alone, and you guys have felt what I've been going through too. But I keep it real. I keep it honest on here. If that makes me a pussy or effeminate, I don't give a rat's patoot. I'm not going to get on here and just make up old war fishing stories and a bunch of nonsense. I could get a million views by my creativity alone coming up with things. But this is an outlet for me and for those that feel like they can benefit from it.